Hello, hello. Welcome to Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes. I'm Natalie Torres-Haddad, and today we have a really, I called him famous, but really special guest. Obviously, we're in their headquarters, as you can see the cool logo behind me. And in Seattle, I was so fortunate to be part of the Lola conference this past couple days. And today I got a chance to sit with Matt from his really, really extremely busy schedule. But I wanted people to understand why Financial Savvy Minutes in 20 minutes is so important. It's because we need at least a few minutes out of the day that we're learning something about money, learning about something that we all have challenges, and that we can also learn from other people's mistakes, but more importantly, be inspired by their stories. And Matt was one that definitely resonated with me. And this is the first time we actually got to meet, so it's kind of great when you see people doing amazing things in our community, and then you're like, hey, this is you in real life. So first of all, thank you, Matt, for being a part of this. And if we can just start off right off the bat, tell us a little bit why you decided when to start Remitly, but if there was something that really made you think, I need to do something different for our community.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Natalie, and thanks for being here. I'm a huge fan of the show. Starting Remitly really started from my own personal experience. I grew up in Idaho, but I think partially because of that, my parents really valued travel. So I've traveled to close to 100 countries, seen a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people. And on the receive side, where people send money to, remittances to, just seeing how far that money went in people's lives was profound for me. I mean, and I think a lot of our customers know that, a lot of your viewers know that, and then to get to know our customers in the U.S., the sacrifice they make, it is unbelievably inspiring. And so it was one of these businesses where not only did I feel like we could build a very large business, but it's a business that could do a lot of good for the world as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the first people that I met through your company started talking about what you're doing, I remember getting emotional because I was thinking, I grew up in these neighborhoods, I still live in these neighborhoods where we're targeted by, I'm not even going to mention the other names of other companies that really overcharge and don't understand how $20 can mean a lot to someone else in another country, especially when there's our family members or friends that are struggling. And you've been to so many countries. I think that really does show a lot of people, and they're like, that's why travel is so important, right? Because you see what privileges we have here, what opportunities we have here, but how we can also give back to those that really need it. That's one of the reasons why I love this company as well too. But 100 countries is amazing, and obviously as a young person going through all these different cultures, not everyone catches on to this. Did you ever find a place, especially when you were starting, because I think this is something people need to hear. There's a lot of listeners that are in their maybe fifth year of their own business, and there's moments that they want to quit.
Yeah.
And you've gone through so much growth. I mean, this is for those that are watching on the video, the space is incredible. It's such a creative space, a beautiful building. But I'm sure there was moments where you're kind of like, can we even move into this location? Can we expand? Can you maybe share a little bit about that journey for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. We're 1,000 people worldwide now, but it started with really three co-founders, early days. And the early startups always have pivots along the way, and those are what the challenges are going to be tied to. And for us, it was all about how do we really transform and improve the lives of folks sending money back home.
Yeah.
But the solution to that really changed along the way through some of those challenges. So the early days, I thought, hey, let's just come up with like a search engine for remittances, not have to get all the money transmission licenses, not have to build out all the infrastructure. Yeah. But it turned out that that there wasn't a business to be built there. It's a very hard business. So even before we built a full product for that, by talking to customers, by looking at other businesses that have not succeeded in the space, we pivoted there. Another example is, Western Union's been around 160 years, and so what's different now is that people not only have smartphones, but they're trusting smartphones for financial services. And so we thought that not only on the send side, so that's how our product works, customers link their bank account or debit card, that very much is shifting digital. On the receive side, we thought people would want money to mobile wallets. In the Philippines specifically, where we started. My co-founder and I went to the Philippines. We realized that nobody wanted money into mobile wallets. I mean, people want cash in a lot of the countries that we operate in, and that shift to digital is going to take longer. It depends on the country.
Right.
But we went through a big pivot there because the whole business idea was mobile to mobile, and right now it's mobile to a wide range of disbursement options because, again, most importantly, we talked to customers, we understood what they need, what they wanted, but there were moments, that trip to the Philippines in 2011, where it was like, the whole pitch, the whole premise was like, we're gonna send money to mobile wallets, and then we saw nobody was using them.
I think that's that obviously definitely resonates with me because being Latina American, first of all too, it's kind of like you assume everyone has the phone, right? And so but nowadays, and I learned this at Hispanic, so this is how I learned about your company there.
Cool.
And I remember thinking, well, most Latinos, we were social before social media happened.
Yep.
Meaning we were always calling each other, talking to our aunts in another place, another country, and understanding that our grandmas, our aunts already had Facebook or had all these other digital things on their phone, that we were advancing in that direction. And now hearing you say that, like, yeah, that's right. In other countries, it's not accessible, or maybe the traceable thing, or they're afraid that someone might have access to it. So that's pretty important to understand that you went through, like, well, we have to be niche in different countries. And as a business owner or someone that's just kind of trying to navigate, we forget that every culture has not only their own identity, but their own needs. And I think that's really cool that you saw that. And I'm sure that was pretty scary, too, because you're like, okay, change it up, right?
Totally. And I think that, I mean, everything I've learned has been via amazing mentors and people I've surrounded myself with. But the piece of advice that I always come back to is, like, don't fall in love with a product, a solution. Fall in love with a problem for customers that you're trying to solve, and then pivot and adjust the solution. And I think that that was liberating, because I wasn't like, all right, the company's going to fail because our product is going to look totally different.
Right.
The company's going to succeed because we're listening to customers and we're adjusting the product to meet customers' needs.
I love that. For me, it was that I remember people assume because I'm known as financially savvy Latina, they're like, you just cater Latinos. I was like, no, I cater for people that are dealing with student debt. I'm catering for people that have other families in different countries, different cultures. And it's that you just said, you just have to be able to understand. We have to be able to pivot when we need to. I wanted to ask you the question I always ask everyone on the episode. Do you remember the first time that you got paid, whether it was cash or a check, that made you think, one, you're the entrepreneur already, but was it different than the 9 to 5? Can you remember that moment?
Yeah, it was in high school. It's going to make me sound like I'm very old, but back in high school, when you bought a plane ticket, the plane ticket had to be physically delivered. Like, there wasn't, and so I was like a courier, and I would physically deliver plane tickets for people that had bought them in Boise, Idaho. And I didn't even have my driver's license yet, so I'd cruise around on my bike and like deliver those. It was an hourly, gig, and it was, it was a good lesson in terms of just like hard work, but it was so exciting to get that first paycheck. Yeah. So exciting to be able to, show what the result of my hard work was.
That's awesome. And I think it's kind of interesting to see, where if you didn't have a car, you somehow make it happen, right? You just said you're on a bike, and even today I was thinking that being in Seattle, it reminds me a lot of places where you're like, you don't really need a car if there's a lot of transportation. But when you do need a car, you're like, how do I make this work? How do you figure it out? It's like, okay, I'm gonna have to walk a little bit longer. There's a little apps. There's so many apps now that it's so much easier. So it's kind of funny where I used to take those things for granted, where I'm like, God, it's so much easier now sometimes. So that's pretty cool story.